everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And today we are doing a quick solo game. Well, I'm not sure how quick it'll be, but it'll be fun. And of the Axis and Allies and Zombies, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try something I've never tried before, and that is the Germans are not going to build any infantry. Now, there's a little bit of wisdom to this, a little bit of self-preservation, because as you know, these infantry are all at some point likely going to become zombies. And when they do, if you've built zombies and they die, they just become the enemy. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick to artillery and tank for ground units and some aircraft. Of course, aircraft are very important in this game because you can fly by and you get a one-shot at zorching a zombie and it cannot fight back. And if you get the tech, the air dots, forget what that stands for, then it's 2 flybys. So if you have a decent air force, if you can hang on to it, then you are able to kind of pluck away at the zombie hordes as they definitely will be appearing. And they appear quite largely here on the Eastern Front thanks to the Russians and their typical, let's build infantry and send them into Germany. So a lot of zombies can appear. You can see the Germans are on the gates of Moscow. Not a lot of stuff though, and the Russians get to go first. So without any further ado, here we go with round 1. We'll see if it works out for the Germans. We'll see how the strategy goes. Should be fun. Alright, round 1 is on, and as you can see, there's already a zombie in Western Canada. Those cards, I tell you, they can get you. But there were some tech that came out. And we got the Soviets here. They got the chainsaw tanks. Not that they build a lot of tanks, but could come in handy. And the Americans got the zebra suits. So they're able to eliminate the first strike by the zombies 1-to-1 for the number of infantry that they have in the territory. And some fun stuff went on. Of course, the Japanese sank the American battleship, and there was a destroyer left. So the Americans came and sank that, but lost a subduing it. And over here we have the Japanese coagulating everybody around Japan and got all their air force there because they typically get in trouble with zombies. So I thought, well, let's get a bunch of planes around here and maybe we can take care of that before it grows into too big of a threat. And they did get one in Japan during the American turn. And the Americans invaded here, got 2 hits on the first round, and the Japanese got no hits in return. So the Americans took this and went up by a couple bucks, and the Japanese went down by a couple bucks. So that's always handy. Got to move them on the tracker though. Over here in Africa, the Germans were able to take the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, and the zombies were able to take French Equatorial Africa. Good for them. Up here, West Russia. Of course, the Russians invaded and made a whole bunch of zombies. Didn't take the territory. And then on the next turn, which is Germany's turn, the zombies captured it before the Germans went. And the Germans decided to get into a larger strike force. Because the last thing you really want to have is round after round after round of zombies kicking you. So the Germans got a card that said they could move half the zombies in one territory to another. So they moved 4 of them, or 3 of them up into Archangel. The next card said place a zombie in Archangel, so there was 4, and then the British got a card that said move guys back, so they moved 2 of them back. So kind of fun here, kind of fun. What's happening here? The zombies of $5. They're doing all right, and the British took care of the German subs. I think they lost a destroyer along the way somewhere, perhaps. But beyond that, it's been pretty quiet. That's it for round 1. On to round 2 coming up right now. Here we go. Alright, round 2 is done, and here we go. We got a lot of fun things going on here. Americans moving out a little bit. Lost Midway to a zombie, but we're able to liberate Western Canada from the zombie, but by creating another zombie. What can you do? Alright, the Japanese having a little bit of trouble here. They still can't get control of coastal China back. You see that it's American control, but there's only a zombie because you don't capture territories until round 3 or phase 3 of the turn, and that will happen on Russia's turn. So the zombies will go up $2. The Japanese, I think I forgot to put a Japanese roundel up here, so I might have shorted them $1. I'll have to get back in that. Just decided to go and snipe that single dollar, so that would move them up one and move the Soviets down. We'll just check our math on that before we collect. The Japanese did blitz through with a tank and took these two territories, but then the Americans attacked here, and the Japanese tank got a hit, but the Americans decided to take the artillery as the loss. So now they're stuck with just infantry in China, because they can only build infantry in there. Not that they built any this turn. The British took Southeast Asia, and the Japanese took it right back, but that's left them pretty thin here, as you can see. So it'll be interesting to see where we go here. Now the British can only build infantry here. They do have a fighter. Now the Germans can come in here and snipe that too, but I think the Germans have bigger fish to fry here on the Eastern Front. West Russia is still completely populated by zombies, but this is the turn that the Germans just have to go. They just got to go and deal with those crazy zombie losses. It's just going to have to happen. And it's unfortunate, but there you have it. Now the Russians do have two technologies. They've got the zebra suits and the chainsaw tanks. So we built a couple tanks last turn in case the zombies start to become a problem in their territory. Over here we had a big fight, and the Germans were able to sink a couple destroyers and transports of the British over here for the loss of a fighter. And it's a pretty good trade for the Germans, but the British will likely be able to recoup those losses. They saved their money this turn. They saved their money, didn't build anything. In hindsight, maybe should have built a couple of guys there, but you just never know. Didn't think the Japanese would take that so easily, and they took it in the first round. And they took out 3 or 4 British units, just kabammo. Africa is getting thinned out. You can see there's 2 zombie-controlled territories with no zombies. They were sniped from the air. But the British had not engaged in a combat round there, so they couldn't go in and take them. They can take them this turn, hopefully. That's pretty much it. There we go, round 2. Getting busy, so round 3 coming up. I think the Caucasus might fall. We'll show you in just a moment. Alright, so here we are, round 3's in the books, and some strange things are happening, some strange happenings are going on, as it were. The zombies continue to grow in Western Canada. Got another one in Midway. I'm not sure if that happened this round or last, but there you go. And the American Pacific Fleet is there because it's nowhere else. I sent the carrier, bomber, 2 fighters, destroyer, and a battleship up here to attack the massive Japanese fleet. Did okay. Japanese, though, walked away. They had a wounded battleship and a fighter, which has relocated to Manchuria because its carrier is now a diving reef off Japan. Now, as weird as that was, another weird one took place up here. Probably the weirdest battle I've ever had in ANA Zombies. I'm going to explain what happened. So I had an infantry and an artillery attack the Urals, which had 2 infantry and 1 artillery. So you figure there's going to be some zombies out of this, which is Japan's plan, is to actually tie up some Russians here, hopefully, eliminate some Russians and help the Germans put pressure on Moscow. Well, what happened was, in the first round, they got a hit in response, 1 hit each, creating 2 zombies. The zombies do not get a hit in their first round of combat. Everybody else misses in that turn of combat. So there's still 2 zombies. They attack. Totally miss. These folks roll. The artillery is the only thing left. It rolls, and it rolls a 6, which kills a zombie. These guys here roll a 6, which kills a zombie. So now all we're down to is an artillery, and then a man in artillery here. He misses, and they both actually get a hit. And because it's an artillery, it doesn't create another zombie, and this is what we have left. So essentially, Japan traded a man and artillery for a single man and didn't create any zombies. And it was kind of important to do so because this is a real big mess here. So the Russians built their build in the Caucasus, built a couple of men there, and a couple of tanks here, trying to just get things going, And the Germans came in and created a stack of 16 zombies, and there were more because some died during the combat, I think. And luckily, the Japanese on their turn got a card which allowed them to move half the zombies from one territory to another. And they could have moved. There was one zombie in here they could have moved out. There's some others that they could have moved. But they chose to help out the Germans and sent them into there, hoping that these guys here will kill something then. Now, the bad part is that when Germany does attack, the zombies, if there's still a bunch left, might chew up his tanks before he gets in there. Now, there is a chance that a card will give them chainsaw tanks, but we can't count on that. But the Russians might be losing some hardware here on their turn. So it could be interesting. Could be interesting to see how it goes. And who knows, maybe these guys here will chew up these German tanks. Zombies still hold on to that territory. And up north, Karelia fell to the Germans, but not without creating a stack of 13 zombies. So that's the largest stack on the board right now. And that's pretty impressive. Down here, Africa is becoming half and half British and zombie. So not exactly how we expected it to go, but there you have it. Let's see here. Not much else going on up here. The British, who had saved up a bunch of money, decided to get the fleet going again. Germany may take a poke at it, can only hit it with one bomber though, and one fighter, and that might not be worth it. Because once those are gone, they won't be rebuilding them. The Middle East is in German hands, of course. So the middle of the map here, the British, I decided, let's throw down two boys here. We'll see if they can hold on to India from the Japanese. Well, they get to go first, so they could build a couple more. So we'll see. The Japanese did come down here and scoop the Dutch East Indies for a couple of bucks. It's amazing, but the economy is so deflated in this game. A couple bucks can make the difference on some of your buys. Destroyer came over and sniped that lone transport, and we'll see if the British feel like trying out the fighter v destroyer combo. Up here, the Americans just moved one closer, so now they could land if they wanted to, and the British could land and likely will land in Norway, Finland on their turn, as the Germans really, really, really want to get going and get into Moscow as soon as possible. As we look at the economies, I think I've got them updated here. It's funny, when you play by yourself, sometimes you forget these things. But the zombies are doing okay. So we got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they should be at 7. They are. And the Russians here are at 8. And they have a tenuous hold at best on the 8. Right? That's all they got, those 3 territories. The British are down quite a bit. The Japanese are up. Germans are up. And the Americans are down a single, thanks to your friends on Midway. All right, heading on to round 4. Will Russia still be in Russian hands? Will it be in zombie hands? Or will it be in German hands? I don't know if his name is Hans, but there you go. Okay, so this is the assault on Moscow that's happening right now. And sometimes in my videos, crazy things happen. And so you know that at the beginning of these battles, we have 8 zombies. They get to roll 8 dice. And you have a 1 in 3 shot of the zombies destroying an attacking unit. And you have a 1 in 6 shots of destroying a defending unit. Yeah, the math didn't quite work out there. So 4 Russians just got killed. That's all the infantry they just built and placed. And 1 German tank. So, wow. That's going to hurt. So if these German tanks and planes can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, could happen, then there will be no second round, and that'll be it. There'll be no more Russian units on the board except for a little lonely sub there. So we'll see. I'll let you know. Okay, turn 4, and we're going to help you out here. We're going to go right on over to Moscow. And right after I shut off the camera, I rolled 7 dice, 6 at 3, 1 at 4, and I got 7 hits. And there were only 6 Russian units. So that was that. And so there was no second round. The Russians got some hits and actually took out some zombies, more zombies than Germans in their defense of Moscow. So Russia is ostensibly out of the game now, and with that, Japan just needs to clean up some infantry in China and some more. There's 2 more in India. No, there's just too much for them to try to take them out right now. Took out the British transport, and the Americans moved out to the Hawaiian Islands. Now the Japanese only have a battleship there, so there's really not an awful lot for them to take out. Okay, round 4 is in the books, and we're just going to look at the tech here. So the Russians have 2, the Germans have 1, the British have 2, Japanese have 1, and the Americans have, yeah, they got 4. They got 3 last round because they drew the double draw card twice. So they got 4 cards. 3 of them were roll a die and get some tech. And so, yeah, they put 4 zombies on the map, which isn't always a fun thing to do. But they did, in fact, get some tech. So they're sitting pretty, and they've got good ones for the Americans. So those planes should be able to help take care of some zombies. But here we go. We are looking at the Pacific. Japanese built a couple destroyers this round, and the Americans are just sitting there, not venturing out, because the Japanese have another destroyer in the south, where they went and sank a naked British transport. The British built a couple of infantry in India, and China is fully in American hands, which is pretty rare for this game. Usually there's a whole bunch of zombies out here, but we haven't placed any in China, and only, I think, 1 or 2 have been made total. So, yeah, they're doing all right. Up here, the Japanese, of course, took everything. And the Russians, of course, put everybody into Russia to save it, and it didn't work, as you can see. A little anticlimactic there, sorry. And yeah, I rolled the dice. Right after I shut off the camera, I rolled 7 dice, 6 at 3, 1 at 4, and I got 7 hits, a whole bunch of 1s and 2s, and 1 3. And the Russians fired back. They did hit, but they only got 2 hits on the Germans, and they got 3 or 4 on the zombies. So they had very successful dice, but not in the way they probably would like. Up here, the Germans have reinforced everything and held on, and Britain didn't come across Norway, Finland, for the simple fact that, well, the Germans built some subs here, and they got lots of air power now. So kind of leaning toward an Axis victory here. But the zombies are up there. They got $13, right? They're doing okay. But the Germans, with just building tanks, you can see no zombies being created by the Germans. This is all cards and dead Russians. And of course, the starting Germans are all stacked up there. In Africa, the British have been trying to do some flybys and kill some zombies. Not very good at that, though. They're missing quite a bit. A little bit of help here for the Navy, and hopefully they'll be able to hold on to start making a game of it. But it's really looking like an Axis victory over here. And over here it's looking more and more like the Japanese are in control of the Pacific Ocean. But the Americans aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Do have a couple of transports here, have a destroyer and another transport. So they could bring 6 units over, drop them here in Africa. But the Germans, with all this air power, yeah, the Americans are going to have to either build up or just go sit with their friends the Brits so that they don't get wiped out by the massive German air power. Again, the Germans have 3 subs here with a battleship, and they really don't want to head out because the British do have a couple of planes, and they have a battleship and 2 destroyers as well. So it's one of those things, neither side is really strong enough to venture out yet, but the Germans definitely have more cash to throw around, and throw they will. Alright, well, you've got the end of turn 4 roundup. We'll see if turn 5 is going to bring us any sort of closer to a definite win or loss by either side, or will the zombies continue to grow in strength? Okay, well, as those of you who know the rulebook really well realized, is that at the end of last round, that was pretty much it. When you capture capital and you hold all of yours, that's you just check at the end of the round. But I was like playing one more round just to see if it was a fluke or not, but there really was no way that anybody was going to take Tokyo or Berlin, so it really was over. last round. But hey, it's always fun to try another shot. I didn't do any real big attacks or anything. I really bulked up Norway, Finland. The British transports are too far away to do anything, so I just didn't actually do much over here. I could have brought guys over, but it wouldn't have any effect on the outcome of the game, and hey, time is money, so not that I'm being paid for this or anything, but hey, anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Pretty quick game, just really 4 rounds really, and Moscow fell. So maybe the Germans not building any infantry at all works. You see they do have an infantry here, but that's from liberating the zombie-held territory. You get an infantry when you do that. You can see Turkey no longer has any zombies in it, and it was likely Germany would move in there and take it and give this up to the zombies. But again, the game is over. The zombies end on 10, I believe. Let me just count again. Oh, I think they might have 12 now, because America's final card was to take half the zombies and move it. And I thought, well, we'll get one step closer to Berlin. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So look at that. Yeah, I didn't up that. So they're at 12. They were at 13 at one point. That was the high water mark for the zombies. And you can see there's a good number of them out here. They tend to be where there are other units, and they weren't really effective in their preliminary attacks in this game. So there you have it, folks. That's the end of the zombies. Hope you enjoyed it. Back to school tomorrow. Classes start. I'm going to start teaching again, so got to get my brain ready for that.
I am the smart. I am the smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
And hopefully my students will be very good students and not a bunch of zombies. And they're awesome, so I'm not going to worry about it.